To break down the 100-meter hurdles at this Olympics, I'm going to show you a lot of examples of some really good technique. I'm going to show you a few of the things that I think are the most outstanding and one athlete that I think needs a little work. So let's go. It's been said before and can't be emphasized enough, this event out of all of them is the hardest one to predict. There's so many excellent women in this race and so many things that have to go right in order to come out on top that you really don't know who's going to do it at any given time. This time, fortunately, ended up being Masai Russell, and I know why. So we're going to look at that. So right here, we see some really great examples of what a start should look like. Every one of these women has full extension on the leg in the blocks. They all have really great leans. Even though they're all good, I think Grace Stark here has the most picture perfect, so I'll talk about her. Notice that you could draw a straight line through her body from her leg to her hips to her shoulders to her head. It's got a nice angle with her lean. All the ladies on their first step are leaning forward really well. All of their feet have struck the ground, moving backwards into the track, and their foot is well behind their center of mass. I'll also point out that all of them took 8 steps to the first hurdle. And notice as they take their last step into the hurdle, something I'd like to point out. Masai Russell was actually the first one to touch down at the first hurdle. The hurdle's in the way, but you can see here when she first touches down with the ball of her foot, her shin is straight up and down, so she has no braking action going on. It is interesting that Nadine Visser from the Netherlands, even though she wasn't the first one to touch down at the first hurdle, she's the first one to touch down on the other side of the hurdle. So that tells us that she actually clears the hurdle faster than the other ones, which is really interesting based on what I'm going to bring up in a little while. Unfortunately, at hurdle 1 is where Kieran Nugent from Jamaica hit the hurdle pretty badly. Other than that, things were very clean to the second hurdle. And then Masai Russell actually hit hurdle number 2 pretty well with her trail leg. But she kept her composure, but she did lose a little speed because we can see now that she's a little bit farther back in the pack. Here at hurdle 3, Alicia Johnson hit the hurdle with the heel of her lead leg, and that ended up being pretty devastating for her. Everybody was clean to hurdle 4. At this point, Nadine Visser looks really strong and seems to be in the lead. One thing I do want to point out about Nadine, when you watch her, she has a definite lean over to the right side as she goes over the hurdle, and she has both of her left arm, which is her lead arm, lean clear past the center line of her body, which we don't want, but also her right arm, which is her trail arm, she hangs over to the side on the right. On one hand, I know why she's doing it. It's because she brings her lead leg over by swinging it around from the side, moving counterclockwise. You can see her hip rotates and her foot is out, and you can see the underside of her foot, which you shouldn't see. All the other hurdlers bring their lead leg straight through. So because of that, that's why she's leaning over to the right. But she's an amazing athlete who's learned how to compensate with this, and this is the reason why she's doing so well. Going into hurdle 5, Nadine is still holding strong up front, but now Jasmine Camacho-Quinn from Puerto Rico has moved up with her. But something I want to point out, now that these ladies are in the middle of the race and they've all found their groove, I want to show you how their lead leg touchdown has changed from hurdle 1. If we look here at Nadine Visser in lane 3, you can see when she touches down how far her foot is back behind her center of mass. Very, very quick. But the same thing could be said about Jasmine Camacho-Quinn, who's actually in the lead at this point, who has touched down first. But all of these ladies coming off the 5th hurdle are doing the same thing. Real quick, if you'd like me to review your video, I'll leave a link for a virtual coaching session in the description below. And if you want a chance to be one of 5 each week that I review for free, I'll leave information for that as well. So here at hurdle 6, we see that Cyrena Samba-Mayela from France has caught up to the leaders. And then going into hurdle 7, we see that our 2 Americans, Grace Stark and Masai Russell, are catching up as well. Coming off hurdle 8, I can see Samba-Mayela from France has touched down first, followed by Camacho-Quinn. At hurdle 9, those 2 ladies are still even, but now we see Masai Russell is caught up a bit. Coming off hurdle 10, those 3 ladies are touching down identically. But going from hurdle 10 to the finish line, Masai manages to get there and lean them out. One thing I can see from this top view is how Masai Russell's technique has improved over the last year. If you saw my earlier video right here where I analyzed her technique about a year ago, you'll see that she used to lean a bit more to the right side as she brought her lead leg through, and she also used to swing her trail arm, her left arm, and her shoulder back a lot farther, and she doesn't do that as much anymore. So this tells you this is an impressive athlete who never stops trying to get better. That's it. I hope you learned a lot. If you'd like this and you want to learn more about hurdling, you should subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can see whenever I post new videos, usually weekly. And if you want to see how I can help you with your hurdling, go to acemethodcoaching.com.